I'm not being overdramatic when I say that I would rather sit naked on a hot grill than wear something off the rack.
Seriously, thank you, Katja, for assigning a fun final project and not a dreadful final paper. Welcome everyone to my summary of learning. The first class of my master's was the digital literacy course, and it seems fitting to end with the foundations of EdTech. I have created a Pinterest board, and it follows the timeline of the class, sprinkled in with some resources relating to the week's topic. So, sit back and enjoy my Pinterest board. So here it is, my Pinterest board complete with 91 intentional pins for the 91 days we have spent learning together. Even as an avid Pinterest user, I didn't know how to make my own pins. It's really easy. I simply added the extension to my Google Chrome, and so long as the website had an image, I could create a pin and save it to my board. Now knowing this, I can see myself using this tool in my classroom as a fun way to gather materials for my students in one spot. As the class started, we all created a blog, joined Discord, made a flip, some of us started tweeting, and we changed our avatars on Zoom. Katja also introduced extensions like Ad Blocker and Screencastify. Here's where the cool part comes in. I have created pins to everyone's blog that I've interacted with. You may notice some images from your blog throughout the rest of the board. I want to thank everyone in this class for all our hard work and contributions to each other's learning throughout our presentations and blog posts. Your work makes up the majority of my Pinterest board. The first couple of classes were led by Katja, where she discussed our experiences and the history of EdTech. We chose our favorite EdTech debacles, discussed the evolution of EdTech, quoted Neil Postman, and deciphered learning theories and how they would relate to EdTech. When the presentations began, I was really impressed with Bart Valeska's and Gilbert's use of Sutori, so much so that we used it for our presentation in this class and a presentation in my other class. I quickly realized that I was missing out on a wealth of potential when it came to the use of audiovisual technology in my classroom. Throughout all of the presentations, I was blown away by how many different platforms and interactive activities everyone was using. Maddie, Reagan, and Casey gave a fantastic presentation on productivity suites and presentations. Truthfully, I had no idea what a productivity suite was. I'm a Google user, and the extent of my knowledge was Drive, Docs, Slides, and Sheets. It took some time, but after the presentation, I went on to explore what Google has to offer. I now use Jamboard, Google Photos, Calendar, and I even read Google News. Online learning. We all had to facilitate it and experience it. Lovepreet, Shirsti, and Gunpreet walked us through several tools to use when online or remote learning. Of all the Pinterest content, this was the easiest to find. But a question that came up throughout the semester was there once again. Is the learning tool of quality? Does it add to the learning experience? Or is it just a tech checkbox or something flashy the kids will like? We often discuss the advantages and disadvantages of online learning, and I don't see this debate being settled anytime soon. Lourdes, Umi, and Shivali gave a presentation on Web 1.0 and 2.0 and 3.0. I felt pretty confident in my understanding of Web 2.0, so I was thankful for this group's breakdown of the differences. The video the group shared was fantastic because it outlined the direction of Web 3.0. I can't lie. I still don't completely understand where the internet is going, and I've tried to understand cryptocurrency, but that one still goes over my head. I was truly surprised with all of the assessment technology options. Brittany, Megan, and Brett explained how assessment technology can benefit our classes, specifically flexibility and accessibility, improving feedback loop, identifying learning gaps, increasing engagement, consolidating learning, motivating students, and overall faster assessment for teacher. There are so many pins for assessment technology on Pinterest. One of the themes that reemerged throughout the semester was cost, and access to assessment tech is no different. Many of these programs available are monetized, which I know immediately deters a lot of us from using that product. Speaking of price, assistive technology. Wow, since when did helping people become so expensive? Oh right, forever. Another outstanding performance by the group, Todd, Colton, and me. In our breakout rooms, we discussed a lot about how assistive technology has changed over the course of our careers and how assistive tech really works in our classrooms. We discussed that assistive technology is much more accessible than it used to be, and it's now considered status quo. However, it is viewed as this magic wand that fixes all issues, and that can be difficult to use or implement authentically in our classrooms. Oh, that coding activity. I tried my hardest, but that was one that was way out of my comfort zone. In Kirsten Gilles and Minu's presentation, I learned that I'm not wired for coding, but I love makerspace, as you can see from my lovely red Solo cup and Q-tip stickman. The biggest takeaway from this presentation for me was that I need to be more open to trying new things with my students. Kids will love one thing and hate the other. We encourage our kids to try and fail all the time. Why should I stick to teaching methods and strategies I'm comfortable with? Kim, Matt, and Brian's presentation was on virtual and augmented and mixed realities. I'm optimistic to use VR in my phys ed classes one day, but not anytime soon. Reading through the blog posts this week, I think that it was safe to say not all of us are ready to do that as well. A lot of the discussion around VR in the classroom was whether or not it would add to the learning experience and environment or just be a flashy, attention-grabbing new toy that eventually sits at the back and collects dust. Either way, the future of ed tech is rapidly growing. Without this class, I wouldn't know half of the things I do now, and I would argue that's still nowhere near as some. The rest of my board has some cool resources that I've used. Feel free to follow me on Pinterest and check them out yourself. I want to once again thank everyone for your contributions to this class. Without you, I would not have learned as much as I did. Wishing you all the best in your remaining classes.